Hi, my name is Cody Thomas. I currently live in San Augustine, Florida, where I work as a logistics manager and gallery coordinator for Cutter and Cutter Fine Art Gallery. I spend as much time in nature as I have time for. I'm a potter, and in the video on the top right, you can see that I'm throwing a quiche baker. My new interest is flying my DJI Mini 2 drone, which you can see a photo that I had taken from behind my house overlooking Volano Beach and the Bridge of Lions. This is my capstone proposal presentation on using clay as a medium for journaling mental well-being through a game-based approach. I am interested in completing this research as I've had a personal experience with working with clay as a means to journal my own mental health and well-being. I used this inspiration for completing my undergrad capstone, where I've made slip-cast longs with translucent porcelain. The memories I have with my parents, who both passed away less than a year and a half from one another, both from cancer, are embedded in and out of the longs with hand-built pieces. Using clay for journaling also helped greatly with overcoming depression and social anxiety at this time in my life. I've included my blog that I had made for logging my process if anyone's interested in looking at it. The link is there in blue. What is known about using clay as a journaling tool for mental health and well-being is new to the 20th century. Nuremberg and Kramer are researchers who pioneered the first studies of using art as therapy tool, which paved the way for the study. Most of the focus on this holistic approach of journaling as a part of therapy has been centered around 2D materials mostly. Clay has not been researched in depth like the 2D materials. In a K-12 setting, this can provide students with a unique outlook for self-expression and self-reflection. Clay journaling can be introduced as a supplementary activity for traditional journaling or as a standalone art project itself. I believe that this approach allows students to explore their emotions, thoughts, and experiences in a tactile and sensory way, fostering creativity and introspection. Clay journaling is also beneficial for community-based art projects outside of the K-12 classroom. Collaborative clay journaling workshops can be organized to engage community members, encouraging them to express their stories and experiences through clay. These projects can promote social interaction, empathy, and community cohesion, while also providing a holistic and creative outlet. My 3 research questions are: what are the benefits and challenges of using ceramics as a medium to engage in practice of mental well-being? What ceramic processes most lend themselves to a restorative mental well-being approach? How does developing a prompt game help individuals in fostering their mental well-being by exploring oneself through clay? While I worked on my lit review, I discovered that even though 99% of therapists say that clay has a beneficial tool as a form of therapy, however, only 25% of them actually use it in their practice. When our hands touch clay, the tactile medium sends messages to our exteroceptors and interceptors, allowing nonverbal access. This is also beneficial as the brain activity in the right medial peripheral lobe improves our memory, emotional state, and spatial temporal processes. Lastly, when we work with the wet stages of clay alone, from ideation to completing a project, our self-esteem improves as it gives us a sense of accomplishment and gives us a sense of usefulness. For my research and project, I will be using arts-based research, or ABR, which is defined as a research method in which the arts play a primary role in any or all of the steps in the research method. Art forms are essential to the research process itself and central in formulating the research question, generating data, analyzing that data, and presenting the research results. I will support my ABR with a narrative self-inquiry. This is defined as a qualitative research method in the narrative inquiry tradition that elicits and analyzes stories in order to understand people, cultures, and societies. Since I am using no other humans in my study except myself, I will not need an IRB approval for my capstone research. I will be gathering data from the research that I discovered through scholarly articles, art therapy books, and journaling prompt books. I will be taking detailed reflective notes of my process from start to finish, as well as taking many photos of the journey as I embark, discovering new prompts that will be used in the prompt game. I purchased blank decks of cards from Amazon to plan out the layout of the decks. I will experiment with different clay bodies from moist clay, air dry clay, polymer clay, and research homemade clay recipes. I want to experiment with these mediums to make sure that the prompt game is accessible to everyone. Researching other ceramic artists to use as inspiration and examples will also be completed. I will use Ceramics Monthly magazine, Art Access website, Pinterest, Instagram, and other social media platforms to find matching artists to use. The data analysis. I will analyze my data by combining scholarly articles and the reflective notes that were taken as I created the prompts that were then used in the card game. Patricia Levy states that research as such must be in tune to the researcher, emotional, carnal, psychological, and intellectual indicators. I want to research more about how tangible mediums, such as clay, is more beneficial than other forms, such as using computers, pencils, pens, paints, charcoals, and more, as I feel these materials are less able for the user to have a one-on-one relationship with during meaning making. For the game, I need to start researching ceramic artists as inspirations to include as a deck option in my game. I also need to purchase the various clay bodies, research homemade clay and dough recipes, and begin my own process of meaning making and designing new prompt games. Lastly, my plan is to have an actual printed game in my hands during my capstone presentation, as well as for both committee members, so I need to begin possible layouts of the game with the blank decks of cards I purchased from Amazon, as well as start looking into possible printing companies that will be able to meet the printing and shipping demands to make sure I have them in my hands as well as with the committee. Thank you.